I mean, I tell everybody I have the greatest job in the world, right? Because it was the last project I got to do with my dad while he was still alive. And so to see his genius, how he thought about it, he didn't want there to be a bad seat in the entire stadium. I think that's probably one of the best things about Toyota Stadium. Every seat is great, but also, you know, we're getting ready to have a big anniversary, but there's also going to be some news that could potentially be coming. We've taken the first step there. Obviously, you saw the Frisco CDC, you know, put the bond issue forward. And I think what I'm so excited about is if we're able to achieve this, it's preserving the stadium, but taking it to the next level, modernizing it, and truly making it state of the art as we think about the future here. But so many happy memories, so many great moments. Winning the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup in the stadium was one of the great moments. You know, North Texas winning League One, that was another great memory. So many players that have come through and done great things, so many great coaches. I mean, it's going to be quite a match coming up against Orlando with Peter, who we love so much, and Oscar, who we love so much. I mean, it's just the amount of jobs that has been created through Major League Soccer, not just players and coaches, but media and staff and front office. It's an amazing legacy of soccer in this country, and it continues to grow.
In hindsight, putting a giant stage in the north end, is that a good idea, or is it one that you wish you could redo right now?
You know, I don't know the answer is, because there have been so many positives and also some negatives with it. I mean, the positives, we've had great concerts and great shows, and the economics of it made sense. The concert business has changed, and there's a lot of competition in this market. It was great for our supporters. Then COVID happened. Then it really wasn't great because it was a space that became very difficult for us to use. So I have mixed feelings about it from that standpoint. But you know, I still wouldn't change anything, right? It's being part of this process and understanding it. But it's now time for us to take a gigantic leap forward.
Would a gigantic league also include an All-Star game host? I've always wondered for you guys.
You know, if Austin is having an All-Star game, which they are, there's no reason we can't host one in Dallas and do a great job with it.
Too.
Yeah, and Houston did have it. And this is a major league city. This city loves gigantic events, and I think an All-Star game here, an MLS All-Star game, would be a smashing success.
What are some of the things when you talk about improving the stadium, you know, that people could expect to see or should expect to see?
Yeah.
Like, I know you said more's coming, but maybe you can kind of give us a preview of what we're going to hear later.
You know, look, assuming we get through this process and we've taken that first preliminary step, is the obvious one is shade, right? I mean, I don't really need to probably go further than that with it. It's been something that's been talked about throughout history, but restrooms, concessions, more, better, all of those things, you know, state of the art. We're talking about video boards. I mean, it will be something that I think we will all be incredibly proud of. More suites, more club seats, right? You know, but we have our footprint. That's also being a good steward of this, is we're not building a new stadium, but I guarantee it'll feel like it's brand new. I'm going to be incredibly exciting. So again, we've taken the first major step. We have a couple more steps to get through there, but I think if you're a fan of sports, if you're a fan of FC Dallas, if you're a fan of soccer, this will be something you will really enjoy.
What are some of the next steps, and kind of like what kind of timeline are you working on or looking at?
Yeah, look, so the CDC put forth the bond issue, right? And then you've got to also have city council and school district and those approval processes that have to happen. So it'll be a really critical next 60 days or so as we go along here. But there'll be more announcements inside of that, assuming everything keeps progressing forward.
When we're looking at the World Cup, you know, it's obviously a couple years away, but at this point, what are the next steps from your perspective that you're working on right now?
Look, the big things we're working on, International Broadcast Center. This is really important to me, and the reason is it is great for our city. It's a great economic impact. It's a great way for the media and the journalist community here to be so involved in the World Cup. Mm-hmm. But my dad was so proud in 1994 to have the International Broadcast Center That was something I didn't really appreciate at the time I was in high school. I knew it was important, but I just really didn't understand what it truly meant to our city, our community, and he was so proud. And so if we can do this, that would be great. But look, our local organizing committee is really going to get going. We have a lot of those hometown partnerships that FIFA's allowing us to sell, so that'll be in a process there. And then just getting ready, committees, all those things. And a big thing that we have to do here, and I know, Monica Paul's been focused on it, and Dallas Sports Commission, is volunteers. We need thousands and thousands of volunteers to help, help us put our best foot forward so that we can show off Dallas-Fort Worth.
Speaking of the volunteers, is that something that you can kind of lean on the State Fair of Texas in that kind of in that way, because that's how they operate as well?
Well, sure, there's a lot of databases, but I mean, FC Dallas helps provide a lot of the volunteers for Dallas Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the number, if I'm correct in saying this, is close to 1,000 volunteers for Dallas Cup each year. So we will be leaning heavily on the FC Dallas family. I'm sure they'll State Fair, Dallas Sports Commission has, and a number of our corporate partners, their employees have expressed interest in being volunteers. So that's exciting too.
And then what can locals and people that come to visit Dallas with the fan experience of being around in the World Cup, what do you envision that being like?
I mean, Dallas is an amazing city, right? I mean, it has so many things to offer. The restaurants, the nightlife, the culture, the museums. Fort Worth, I think we actually have one of the coolest bids, and maybe the best of all of them, because you get such distinct cities with Dallas and Fort Worth. You have that business dynamic community of Dallas, but that authentic cowtown of Fort Worth. Arlington has done an amazing job. It's that kind of middle ground, and then you have AT&T Stadium, which is one of the greatest stadiums. Is one of the greatest economic drivers anywhere in the world. And the Jones family, to their credit, they've been great business partners. They've been such great supporters of the World Cup, but they've made huge renovations there too to push AT&T Stadium. And then we're pushing Toyota Stadium here, and we hope that we get one of the highest seeds in our region to select Toyota Stadium. But we also have SMU and MoneyGram, and Fair Park is in the mix in all of this. And my hope is that people will come and visit and sample all of what this community has to offer. They'll stay here for longer periods of time. And the beauty of our bid is, with 9 games, it's a great place for fans to anchor, because then you can go to Houston. I think Houston got 5 or 6 games. Kansas City got 6 games. My brother was the chairman of that bid. And so if you just anchor in this region, you can see a lot of the greatest soccer in the world and have it be affordable.
Going back to the IBC real quick, is FIFA, is that decision final that they're going to do it in Dallas, or is it, because it looked like it was still there's negotiations going on between the cities?
There's still
right
negotiations. There's still negotiations going on, but I think we're fairly close. There is still competition out there, but again, Monica, the Dallas Sports Commission, the Dallas City Council, the mayor, I mean, they've done a great job in putting us in this spot. So I would hope that in the near future, when they'll make it public, and I mean, we do have competition, so it's not a done deal yet, but it would be so great for this region to have.
What are some of the things that are, I guess, that are still being discussed to bring it across the finish line?
Well, it's the renovation of that space, right? Is the big one. Is you got to make sure it's ready to go for it, and square footage, the need of it. If you go back to Qatar and the IBC there, it was an extraordinary center. I've never seen anything quite like it, but it also was a gigantic space, and sort of money was not really a limitation in what they did and what they created there. And it's hard to replicate that. It would be hard to do what they did anywhere else in the world, but I know we will do a great job. I just think it's getting across the finish line. And look, FIFA's biggest challenge is that their calendar is so crowded. The Men's World Cup in December 22, then Women's World Cup, and then they had the Euros, which I know is UEFA and those things, but it is a constant inventory of soccer product. Olympics going on. They have plenty to do, and so we have these starts and stops because they're so busy that they have to take breaks before they can get back to us. But I hope we're close, because this would be such a win for Dallas.
One for MLS stuff. Leagues Cup obviously was a little disappointment in a way, I guess, but you got 3 weeks to get people back, like you guys were saying. Do you feel MLS is on the right path to beating Liga MX down the road, like in terms of quality of play, rosters, all of that stuff?
I mean, last year was incredibly successful, Miami winning, and now the 4 semifinalists are all MLS teams. So I would say so. I mean, obviously those top clubs in Mexico are very good, but we have shown now that we're on par with these different tournaments. And look, the calendar does play into it, because when we play Champions League, it's early in our season, right? So that makes it more complicated for us. But I'm really proud. In the league, we have a salary cap system, which has been what has kept the league alive and viable, even in the darkest periods of time. But they've continued to alter the rules and do initiatives like TAM and DTAM and 3DPs. And what they've done is they've been incredibly thoughtful, and it's allowed us now to be competitive with that league, which is exciting for all soccer fans. Because, look, frankly, we need that Mexican fan base to be engaged in Major League Soccer, and conversely, we need Major League Soccer fans to appreciate Liga MX, and I think that will help all soccer grow. But it has been a long process, but I can say, just looking at the results of these tournaments, we are clearly on par now. And potentially, as a league, we could, maybe be better than that league.
You get 30th team coming next year, San Diego. Do you feel like maybe it's time for MLS to start loosening up those salary caps a little bit, or is it still, it needs to be where it's trajectory?
Look, I think it's been thoughtful, and again, in the dark moments, it kept MLS going. And when you talk to every other league in the entire world, and not one person ever misses it when you're talking about it, they all say we wish we had a salary cap in our league. So if that tells you that's the global perspective, and I talk to a lot of clubs around the world all the time, and they always say, well, wow, you guys are so lucky to have a salary cap and a thoughtful system that makes sense and allows you to run a business case and be thoughtful how you continue to grow. So I think we're in a great place.
To piggyback on that, what, from your perspective, how is the addition of like Messi and Busquets and Giroud and all these big names in soccer bringing more eyeballs to MLS? What has that been like from your perspective?
What a moment, right? We get to be part of the Messi story, each and every one of us, right? You guys are here right now doing this, and we get to tell the story, and he's one of the greatest 2 players of all time. Yeah. There's not a lot else you can say about it, and we unfortunately lost to them last year, but maybe one of the best soccer matches I've ever seen played.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's right.
Yeah.
But those are those matches that live with you as you think about it. So it's great, and it's great to welcome other players. Giroud's coming in. What a great player he's been, and you continue to see players, Forsberg and Red Bull New York, and you just keep seeing these players come in, and obviously the Miami group of players. It's the continued growth. I mean, it's the constant. I mean, we don't get a guy like Petr Musa to come to MLS without all these names coming. It's just eyeballs, and we get a constant now call in of players who are saying, hey, I'd be interested. And you do have your rules you have to work through, international salary cap, all those things. But it's been so fun to be part of. And unlike the old NASL with Pelé, we can actually capitalize on it. America was not ready yet in that moment in time with Pelé, although he did inspire a lot of things, and Dallas is the biggest, FC Dallas and the city of Dallas is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the old NASL, because all those guys, the Bobby Moffats and the Kenny Coopers, they all stayed and created youth clubs or coached at local high schools, and the reach of the Dallas Tornado in this market is what makes this market such a great soccer market.